All right, everybody, you know my first guest for her great performances in films like Lost in Translation, In Good Company, and Girl with a Pearl Earring. Her latest movie, The Island, opens next Friday. Please welcome Scarlett Johansson. You look fantastic. That
Thank
color,
you.
You've got so much color going on,
Thank
and I
you
love
very
your
much.
hair and those cool dice. Are those like dice that you're wearing?
Yeah, there's some, I guess so. They're my ice dice.
Ice dice,
Yes.
very cool. I can't get away with bling like that. When I try things like that, people just hit me really hard in the face.
Well, let me see, speaking of your face. Wow. You could slice bread or deli meat with it.
Incredible, because if
Yeah.
you had been watching the show earlier, I said something very similar. No, thank you very much for being here. And you know, it's very cool to see, but you've been coming here for a number of years, and we've just watched you become this huge star.
Actually, my first paid job was on this show.
That's right.
Yes, believe it or not. I was 8 years old and I was on a skit. with
That's
you
right.
and
You did
Andy.
a skit,
Yeah.
and it's just hard to believe that I'm 69 years old. But we've seen you over the years, and we literally we have this like pride, like this. She's done so well. She's done great.
Thank you.
And I hope that it's not been weird for you to become so famous, because I heard that, you know, when people stare at you, you actually like to stare back. I mean, a lot of celebrities get stared at, but you have like a habit of staring back at people that stare at you.
No, I mean, I don't, you know, I do. I have this bit of a staring problem. I mean, it's not really, it's just like only occasionally.
Right, right. You mean if someone, it's not a problem necessarily, but
Like if somebody's staring at me, I can't help but notice how they're staring.
Right.
Because I guess I find myself staring back.
right. And that would be, I would think, if someone's looking at you, because people kind of objectify celebrities.
People, you know, when you go into a public place like an airport or something, you know, I'm sure, you know, I do the same thing. It's part of the problem, is that, you know, you go into an airport, you see somebody recognizable, and you kind of stare, oh, wow, the public, you know, celebrity in a public place. But it's the way people stare, like how they try not to stare, but they do. And I become so infatuated with how they're staring that it blows my cover completely, because
So that's weird. So they look over and they see you, and then shortly afterwards you're just...
I'm staring back, and then they just freak out, and then, you know, then it's I mean, then they stop staring, and I'm still staring after them.
And then they call the police, and then you find out their home number and start calling them. That must be, I mean, it must be strange. Some guys must think, wow, Scarlett Johansson's really into me.
Yeah,
She's
until I just
staring
sort
at
of, it's a maniacal stare.
I stare at people like this when they stare at me. They're like, oh, an odd clown. Now, you've been asked to do a lot of cool things, but one thing I'm really curious about is that you hosted the technical Oscars.
Yes, the scientific and technical awards last year.
Is
Somebody
that just,
laughed
I
and it
mean,
was-
yeah, why? I mean, I'm just curious. You hear about, is that just a nerd fest? I mean, and not to put anybody down, but is that a lot of people, I mean, they're there for designing weird things that go into movies?
you know, like they've designed all kinds of technical equipment, and, you know, it's basically 11 of them. We met in my living room and just kind of...
Really? Where do you have the technical Oscars?
They were, you know, they were at some kind of function, and people
Right.
just kind of show up, and, you know, then I have to present these things that I have no idea what they are.
Right.
And everybody in the, you know, so I'll make some kind of technological joke, I guess they've written for me, and everybody's hysterical about it, you know. But,
She said a 4-byte processor has 9 gigabytes. That kind of thing? Yeah. You rascal, yeah. Do people get dressed up for the technical Oscars, or?
Yeah, you know, they wear their sort of, I wore kind of like a, you know, juicy couture sweatsuit, and people kind of show up in their stained,
Right.
you know, shirts. And they spend a lot of time with, you know, with
Right.
instruments and tools, so nobody gets too fancy about it.
Right. It's a big night out for everybody.
Exactly, yeah. And they switch their, no, everybody's very, it's formal kind
Right.
of wear, and,
Right.
you know, they all get dolled up and, you know, whatever.
It's still an Oscar, though. That must be cool.
Well, they let you hold, you know, the reason how they get celebrities to host it is that the fact that you can hold the Oscars for some time, you know, for the night.
Right.
And kind of, you know, do movements with them and sort of...
Yeah. You ever tempted to take one? If I just saw a whole bunch of Oscars, I'd be so tempted just to take one.
I had a hard time giving them away. Like, I'd be like, oh, here you go, here's your Oscar. And they would take it, and I would kind of give it.
Let go of my Oscar! Foul woman. All right, now let's talk about this. I think this is very neat. But this movie, The Island, which we'll talk about in just a second, there's a lot of action in this movie. And I would think in your line of work, you get to kind of handle weapons. You know, when you're in an action. Are you comfortable, like, around guns? Is it something that you're happy doing?
Are you something... Do you have one under the desk or something?
I've never been more disappointed in an audience. You people sicken me.
Oh no, I can't.
I know. I'm not a gun person myself.
Yeah, no. I've had to learn how to do. You know, I did weapons training and that kind of thing. You know, and it's amazing how powerful you feel with a fully automatic Glock in your hand.
Right. Is that the one you like, the Glock? That's a pretty light gun.
That's a light one.
It's a light gun, yeah. That's a lot of people like it. I think it's plastic or something.
I know it's a kind of easy one to hold on to. Except for when you're actually operating it, then it kind of starts to shoot up.
That would be the problem. That's why I've never been asked to do an action movie, that and a million other things. But when they slowed it down and had me firing, my face would be like, oh. You know, I would be blinking every time it shot and like looking away and wincing.
It's hard to get used to it. It's a lot of power, but I mean, it's definitely a good conversation piece. I mean, when you just meet somebody, you want to put it out there. Maybe if it...
That you know guns. Yeah.
So something like that.
That's cool and also probably frightening to some people.
You never know. You know,
sure.
It takes all types.
Now, in this movie, The Island, this is kind of neat. I don't want to give anything away. It's when I want to make sure I don't give away too much, but it's a very cool idea for a film.
Yeah, it's a sort of... well, some people find it to be kind of controversial. I guess it deals with human cloning, although it takes it to kind of a fantastical level. But it's I saw it for the first time last night, and I found myself really disturbed by some of it. And it's beautifully shot, and it's of course it's got all the Michael Bay huge explosions and
great director,
everything that people are really into. So it's a trip.
Yeah, and we have a clip here, and I don't want to again give anything away, but you and McGregor are clones, and this is kind of, but you don't know that you're clones.
This is when we first. Right after we've just found out exactly what we are. You know, we think we're just like everyone else. We've just found out that the Earth has not really been contaminated, so that's kind of out of the way. And now we're finding out that we are actually clones of wealthy human beings.
Right, and you think you've had a past life, but that was just a memory that was implanted in you.
Exactly.
It's a neat idea. Let's take a look at this clip from The Island.
I have a mother. I remember her.
Yeah, I know.
I grew up on a farm. I have a little dog, and I had a bike.
A bike, right. It was a pink flexi flyer with little tassels on the handlebars, and you rode it up the street to your grandmother's house. You ring the little bell, and she came out and served you cookies on a hot plate.
Yeah.
No. Memory imprints. I seen him. A buddy of mine is a programmer at the Institute. He showed me. There's only like 12 stories. They change around little details, but they're all pretty much the same. The life you think you had before the contamination, it never happened.
We're going to really like it. The Island opens up July 22nd. So go see that film. And you're going to stick around a little bit tonight?
I will. I would love to.
Oh, very
I
neat.
actually did Jeffrey Tambor and I did SpongeBob SquarePants together, so maybe we can...
It can become a whole theme night, and SpongeBob may stop by at any time. Thanks so much for being here. Scarlett Johansson, everyone. Jeffrey Tambor coming up. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.